Day 1 of the April 98 7-day retreat in Springwater. Such an incredibly beautiful day. So quiet, so bright and clear. Sitting at the pond this morning. Pink hills everywhere and green grass all around. The blue sky and gentle bird song and percussion in the distance. And the heart open with joy and love, just in being here. Usually during the first talk, we speak about listening, not just speak about it. I don't want to just speak about things. How can we put it better? Let's listen together in a new way. Can we do that? Listen together freshly. In becoming aware how we normally, habitually listen. Not in order to become better listeners, to be judgmental, get rid of, or acquire. These are habitual movements. To let them come into view and wonder about our quote-unquote normal listening. How do we listen? To a talk, to a bird calling, to our friends, or the people we don't like or are afraid of. What is going on in our listening right now? Last night we talked about expecting. Expectation. Waiting for something. Are we waiting for something? Wanting something to happen? Is that what's going on right now? This underlying question, what am I supposed to do? What is the right thing to do? And what is the wrong thing to do? These are sort of layers underlying our listening. Memory layers, conditioned layers of holding ourselves. And amazingly enough, all of that can come into view, can become transparent. So, right now, is there expecting, wanting something, wanting to hear something? We may not put it that precisely to ourselves, but the whole body may express that attitude of wanting. To have, to hear, to get, to be better, different. is that the first step in listening freshly, together and alone, to come upon these dispositions, these attitudes, expectations, and question them. What does questioning them mean? We may have developed the feeling that whatever shows itself inwardly has to be accepted. Words say, well, this is the way I am. That's not questioning. Questioning is not accepting or rationalizing or saying, well, this is just how I am, how I have become over the years. That's not questioning. Is questioning abstaining from such conclusions and just coming in touch with a body revved up with expectation, wanting, discontent in the presence and wanting something in the future. To come upon that without a new attitude of acceptance or rejection, or giving a reason for it. Reason always goes from the brain into the past memory, why it is the way it is, which needs memory, which has its place. Sometimes very helpful to remember. Sometimes very dramatically how an attitude started. A way of holding the body in defense, protection, or aggression. But there's no need to deliberately search for reasons when we're questioning something that's happening right now, because questioning does not mean coming up with an answer, with a reason, with a cause for what is observed right now, but simply wondering whether it has to continue this way, whether it has to be this way. Maybe earlier than that, what is this really? This, what I call expectation and wanting. How does it really feel? What is the hum of it? The sound of it? The feel of it? And with that way of questioning, being maybe suddenly in touch with something that has only been known before intellectually, verbally. Do you see the difference between knowing, wanting, I know I want things all the time, and directly feeling a body directed toward something and away from present discontent, for instance, fear? So not only what is this movement away, not intellectually but experientially, in touch with moving away and wondering from what? Escape from what? Moving away from what right now? Not I know already, I'm always escaping from fear. To begin to discern the difference between knowing about myself and not knowing about myself, but coming in touch in a new way, which isn't based on knowing, but allowing it to show itself, to move, to spread. In the presence of awareness, in the presence of a fresh listening, which need not include the birds, the breathing. Physical sensations are there in the moving away. They are there in what is moved away from. Fear or pain, anxiety, anger. Not the words. What is it? And not responding to the question, what is it? Well, it is this and this and this, with more words, more knowledge and memory. But wondering, what is going on without knowing it? Attending, listening, looking. And opening up vulnerably to what's here. In listening to a talk such as this, somebody speaking, how do we listen? Can there be sort of an inward scanning, or how to put it into words is always the difficulty. Because the inwardness is not the words. Right now, am I full of myself? Worries, concerns about home, about the world, about the beauty of the day, full of thought about things with their corresponding physical tensions or pleasures. Or can there be a moment of what? Quietness? Not that all the thoughts necessarily disappear, they may not. But there's something in between and around, above and underneath thoughts, which is quietness, stillness, space. It's here right now, whether we're aware of it or not. Maybe at this point in time, the thought is, I must think about it in order to be aware. And that's not necessary. Awareness needs no thought. Stillness is there. It need not be spelled out. So in talking and listening together, can there be stillness and space and openness? Or are there some tensions of defense, of anticipation? Not all spelled out definitely, but I don't know what she's going to say. Maybe it's threatening, or maybe just a habitual armor from who knows where. It's if it's there, it's palpable right now. Some resistance to simply opening up without protection to what is being said. Allowing it to percolate or sink in, we sometimes say. All the words don't quite express it right. Listening and at the same time looking, attending inwardly, outwardly. with no interference. The words need not interfere with the looking, the listening, the birds, the breathing, and what it is that the words point at. A stillness in between what feels or may feel so stuffy, so solid. Age-old defenses, armor, apprehensions, ideas about you and me. Surrounded and permeated by silent space, all of the stuff. There are long, long habits for all of us of listening to a speaker, to a teacher, to a parent. And these habits, these attitudes inform or may inform our listening. Do they? Is there imagery about the person who is giving the talk? Or what she stands for, what she represents? Thought may say, no, there isn't, but it isn't just thought. It is deeply ingrained in this organism. This whole pattern of teacher, student, parent, child, authority and subordinate. Can it come to light if it's there? Maybe in the beginning just slightly sensed. And then what is this? Allow it to reveal itself. And question its validity. Because what is going on here right now is not a habitual pattern of the kind we have described. It's something entirely different. Even though something may say in oneself, no, you're just pretending, or you play a role anyways. Something inwardly may resist letting go of that pattern or insisting that it is taking place. It's not. We're sitting here as one big listening space and looking space and attending space. All kinds of feelings, sensations, thoughts going on. And sharing in looking together. The fact that somebody is talking just happens to be the way it is. There's no more to it than that. There's no authority being established or continued. Because this whole matter of looking together and listening together is not a matter of authority. Can we begin to see that, understand it thoroughly? Something is being said about wanting or expectations not just filling the mind but expressing themselves throughout the body. It need not be believed or accepted or repeated or remembered. But may be directly experienced. Yes, this is so. Oh, right now there is truly no expectation to be found. Just breathing and bird song and some movements. 42 people sitting together. Ta-tree, ta-tree. Maybe there's expectation, maybe there's not. It doesn't matter. What matters is to be in touch with what is there and to find out how difficult it is, because we're so used to thinking about what is there and remembering what was there and projecting this memory upon what we call this present moment. Very difficult to get a hold of that as imagined, remembered structure, which has no basis in reality. Is that true? What is projected right now onto each other is just projection from habitual patterns and memories, ideas. What he is, what she is, what I am. What are we really? This moment of being here, not believing in imagery, noticing it's there, but wondering whether there's something beyond imagery about myself and the others. Sometimes people say, you're asking the impossible. I cannot attend to something before I think about it. First I have to think about it, and then I can attend. It's how distorted it has become in the mind. That it's impossible to be here without imaging each other, knowing about each other, sticking to the known, insisting on it, that this is how it works and operates in human beings. It does, but it can come into awareness. And in this awareness, which just throws light on imagery, there is no other image. There's just silent, open space. Showing up the images we have of each other and how we believe this is what we are. In silence. So, can we work with each other? It's a clumsy word, I have no better. Relate to each other, question together, communicate with each other, inquire together. That's all what this working means. Without creating authority or subordination, the inferior and the superior, the knowing one and the ignoramus. first notice how we believe in these things and how we cling to them and how they are not necessary. We believe they're necessary, but they're in the way and divide us from each other. If you look up to somebody, that's a very common expression, I look up to him or her. We're not seeing that person the way they are. We see them through memory and idea and patterns, collective and personal patterns. So how can we see each other directly? Not looking up to each other, not looking down on each other, but looking, listening, attending, sensing openly and vulnerably. Because the ingrained fear of being hurt is there for all of us. We've been hurt so many times in our lives. Uncountable times have we been hurt and wounded and scarred. So again, is this asking the impossible? To look and listen to each other vulnerably, openly, undefendedly. Yeah, we can't ask for this. We have to notice the defenses and begin to question them. To notice how they are in the way and how we suffer deeply from separation and isolation, feeling unloved, without friends, no one to talk to. Why? Does this have to be this way? Does it have to continue this way? Or can we probe into this? Not probe into how the others are and could be changed for the better, but how is it here? What is this armor, this wall around myself? Not knowing it, but watching it. At times watching it thin out or thicken up. And sometimes cracking and letting some light through. Not just light, but love. And not to expect quick answers. This conditioned body, mind, has taken an enormously long time to develop. Solidify as it seems. It's not solid, but it seems that way. So let us watch it with some curiosity as it holds itself and behaves and reacts and aches and pains and fears and joys, pleasures. Watching it. Totally inconclusively, not knowing what's going to come of it. It's all here in space and silence. And a capacity to listen. Look inwardly, outwardly, in a new way. Not according to any blueprint. There is no blueprint. There's only what's here, revealing itself in what's here, namely silence and aware space. We may discover in going over this question of authority that deep down, even though we have fought authority a lot in our lives, we also crave it. We want somebody to tell us what it is all about us, to give the magic word, to open us up. Do we want such an authority in our life? Which is away from looking here of ourselves. Somebody may give a talk, somebody may say something in meetings. And this is not the only place where discovery happens, obviously. But the looking and opening and awareing and discovering has to happen here. No one does it for me. It happens here in an amazing way. Not totally unrelated to someone speaking without authority, but out of silence and openness. And lots of love. So we can listen to each other and learn from each other by looking into ourselves, verifying or not verifying what others say. Right here it shows itself and opens up and clarifies. So if our relationship in this retreat and out of retreat is not the conventional one of student and teacher or parent and child, whatever all of these complicated patterns are that have developed throughout this organism, if it is not that, what is it? What is our relationship with each other? This question is asked all the time. How do I relate to you? When we're here talking and listening together, I don't even have a use for this word relating to each other. It's just listening together, looking together, inquiring together. With a deep mutual respect, maybe. I've used that word recently. Meaning by that, not immediately discounting what somebody says because the way they look or sound, or because it doesn't belong here. Respecting means to look again, respecting, with or without spectacles. What did you say? What do you mean? I want to understand it. And then allow a response to come out of this wanting to understand each other and therefore listening openly, freshly, quietly. Quietly meaning not with all this own internal worry noise and concern noise and protection noise. Because if I want to really understand you, that's the beauty of working together and talking together. If I really want to understand you and not just put my point across to you, I want to hear you, understand you, then something empties out here on its own. There's just what you're saying and feeling into it. Sometimes with imagination you're telling about a scenario, if that's what you're talking about, and this imagination sort of pictures it. Helped by what one self has experienced maybe a lot of times. So there is a real picture here now out of which I can understand what you're saying. It's not the whole picture. There's more to it. But right now, you're speaking about an experience you've had, which I want to grasp on its own level, but also on a deeper level, which is that spacious silence which underlies and permeates everything. The biggest worry, the greatest trouble, the deepest anger and fear. Listen. I want to understand it. Not up here intellectually, but directly, as it is unfolding. Are we together? We will end here for today.